Ivan on Tech is shaking. He's freaking out that Congress could actually ban Bitcoin. Do you think that's what's going to happen? Right now, with all the FTX scandal going on, Congress is having hearings, and of course, they're making all kinds of signal sentiments that they may ban crypto altogether. At least according to Ivan on Tech, he is talking about this, and of course, he is shaking, he's freaking out, right? Is this a signal? Is this a signal that the bottom is in and that we are now going to see a reversal? Because when really bad stuff like this happens, it tends to mean that, okay, this is absolute bottom and there's no place else to go now but up. At least that's the idea, but it could go the other way. It could keep going. It could get worse, right? So let's see what Ivan has to say about this, because Ivan on Tech, he's an OG in this space. Everybody probably, you guys listening to this probably already have watched Ivan on Tech before. He usually has some pretty good commentary. I'm a bit of a fan of Ivan on Tech, to be honest. Yeah, he has some take on this. So let's see a little bit more of that, and let's see what I have to say about it. Here we go.
Listen carefully, guys, because I'm currently shaking from what's about to happen to this industry. I'm currently shaking from fear, but also from excitement. And if you're not following along in the current developments in crypto, you are missing out. So by watching this video, I will bring you up to date. You will understand exactly what I'm speaking about. We will be speaking about the different signals. We are guessing right now that the bottom is definitely in. There are many signals showing to that. But also, we do see bearishness on the horizon with the Senate and the Congress right now coming together and attacking crypto. I mean, it's quite funny. I don't know if you saw it. Have you seen this, guys? Have you seen this creepy doll thing? I mean, listen.
I wonder if you would support a resolution that I've been thinking about introducing, changing the name of cryptocurrency to creepy doll currency. I think
oh my gosh.
It's an appropriate name. I just wanted to know whether you would support changing it to creepy dough.
I'll leave that skill set to the committee.
He had to answer that question.
So this is what's happening. This guy, Mr. Ray, he's the new CEO of FTX, and he's here to solve this bankruptcy, find the assets, make the creditors whole, this and that. And he's being heard by the Congress. And this guy, Mr. Cleaver, man, I love Mr. Cleaver. Shout out to Mr. Cleaver. I would vote for Mr. Cleaver any day. I mean, listen to him. He's really been thinking. Look at how serious he is. He's really been thinking about this proposal he wants to run by us. So let's hear him out.
Look at
changing the name of
serious.
cryptocurrency
Look at the seriousness
creepy
on this guy.
Currency. I'm going to discuss this with my...
I mean, this is the kind of thing, I'm almost conflicted. Is it bullish, is it bearish? You guys let me know in the comment section. Or is it schizophrenic? Because, listen, if you are bullish right now, you are a bit schizophrenic, like we discussed yesterday. Because it's bullish, why? I mean, this kind of weird things like creepy doll, it happens at the bottom. These things don't happen at the top. Congress doesn't call Bitcoin creepy doll, cryptocurrency creepy doll at the top. They call it at the bottom. These crazy things, they happen when it's time to moon very soon, because it's so bearish, even the Congress is going nuts. So that's why it's bullish. But you can also say it's bearish because what if we do see hostile regulation? What if we do see US banning crypto exchanges? Which, by the way, is very horrible, but it's not completely out of the picture because, again, they banned online poker. They banned binary options. So that's why when I'm hearing the fact that they may ban crypto exchanges, it would be horrible. I give it a very, very small probability, but it's not fully out of my worldview. It's not fully out of my planet, so to speak, that it could happen. But if that happens, what's going to happen? It's going to drive all adoption to DeFi.
Let's stop right there. So, okay, so first off, you saw that interaction with Congress. There's actually another clip if you go onto Twitter right now. Actually, I retweeted it. You can check it out on my profile. Another congressman actually went to the defense of crypto when all of this was going on. You guys, have guys like this that are just, oh, let's call it creep, And it's like, in all seriousness. And then the CEO of FTX had to actually like sit there and answer that question. Can you believe that? Like, this is the level of seriousness that Congress has in regards to handling this. I'm not too concerned really about the possibility of them banning it. And of course, Ivan is talking about how if it does happen, is that he thinks that it's a very low probability. But if it but the fact is they banned other things too. They banned binaries, they banned online gambling, all this other kind of stuff. maybe they do that too, right? With this, I don't know. The fact is though, that's Congress, that's the United States. You know what happened in Canada yesterday? Apparently, the report is that this Canadian Securities Association has banned leverage trading in Canada and declared all stablecoins as securities. I don't know much about this organization, but that's what Canada is making a move on apparently, or this association is trying to say as a response. So what this means then is that essentially everything that is going to be hosted, everything that will be run by a centralized body, a legal per se entity that is registered with the government, will then be banned or not allowed to be able to engage in these activities. This just means that decentralized protocols are going to become more and more important, because the idea of stopping that, it's one thing to stop the activity because there is a counterparty risk, which is the case with FTX. That is the problem. The problem here is having an entity, a centralized entity that is handling leverage trading with other people's money. That's the problem. Crypto is not about that. Crypto is about allowing for that whole thing to be happening in a protocol and having peer-to-peer transactions. If I am putting, what is leverage trading? Leverage trading is making a bet on what the price is going to be in the future, right? That's all it is. And if I am, as a grown adult, I don't have to ask daddy government for permission to do what I want to do. If I, as an adult, want to be able to place a bet saying, this is how much the price is going to be at this time, and I'm putting my money on it. And then another adult will be able to come along and say, I will take that bet because I don't think that's what's going to happen. That's all that happens. That's all that's happening. But when you have a counterparty that is actually able to see all that, which is the case of FTX, and able to manipulate the situation with the markets to be able to run in their favor, which is what happened with FTX, then it doesn't work. And yeah, that is fraud. That is the counterparty risk to try. You're using this platform thinking that you're just a bunch of adults being able to engage in a peer-to-peer transaction, but that's not what's happening. You have a third party who's coming in and getting in between that transaction. Well, they're providing a service per se, but they're getting into that transaction and causing and actually committing fraud, like not allowing for a real market peer-to-peer transaction to happen. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Congress, and I'm glad there's somebody else, and there are other people in Congress who are actually really clear on this, that are not like this creepy coin guy. There's others that actually understand this, which is great, which gives me the sense that they're probably not going to go down the path of trying to ban it all outright. But I think that there's going to be potentially clear delineation of the responsibility of being a centralized exchange of any kind. They are now going to come down hard on centralized entities that act in this capacity, because what happened with FTX is absolutely not what's supposed to happen in crypto. Decentralized protocols, though, DeFi as we call it, or as Charles Hoskin likes to say, real fi, is where everybody needs to move towards. This is where everybody needs to actually start transacting, actually use the tech, because I understand it's like using an old school modem with your dial-up telephone, and you are getting and that's the experience of DeFi right now, like what it was like trying to connect to the internet back in the 90s. But it'll get better. And the more we can get that usage, and the more attention gets into that, the more effort put into that, the better. Okay. So, we just got to start using what we believe in here. And Congress can do whatever they want. It'll probably, if they do this whole banning thing, it may cause the price, today to go down, and the market freaks out, and that's just an opportunity to be able to drive the price down. Crypto will continue, Bitcoin will continue, and the decentralized protocols that have no jurisdiction in what they're talking about because there is no counterparty risk will continue. Ivan on Tech, he's of course saying, oh, it could go this way, it could go that way. So in this case, I'm more agreeing towards the side that they're not likely going to do something like that. However, in Canada, our globalist nation, they're already doing that, apparently. I haven't seen that, though, because in Canada, in case you don't know, we don't have like a security, like it's not like the United States where there's just this one big body that controls the whole country. Instead, each securities commission is to the jurisdiction of each province. So there's Ontario, there's Nova Scotia, there's like 13 provinces across Canada, and each one has its own rules, right? So there's no such thing as a Canada band. So I still need to understand a little bit more about that, but of course it's making headlines. So that's the way the news cycle goes. Yeah, pay attention. Anyways, let's keep going.
I really like how Ran Neuner put it from Crypto Banter. I suspect that we will hear a lot less about FTX in general. He will probably, and SBF, he will probably no longer do any interviews. Well, he's in jail, so he cannot. And in one way, I'm a bit sad, guys, that we're not gonna have this weird Twitter spaces. I don't know if you've been participating in them. I mean, for me, it's been like a surreal experience listening to them. Because, like, you see the guy lie and confuse and play games at the same time. Like, there is something fascinating with that. And listen, I'm an FTX victim myself. I've lost money in FTX, but I still, there's something fascinating in listening to that guy try to escape questions, but it doesn't work. Like, everyone sees that he's lying, but he's still trying. Man, it was fascinating to see. I would pay money to see that. Not as much as I lost on FTX, but I would pay money to see that. It was crazy. It was insane. But anyway,
Ivan will pay money for it.
So right now, we're probably gonna see the story die down. Everything's gonna calm down, and crypto will become boring for a bit, guys. I think that crypto overall will become boring. We will not have any bad news, not any good news. We're probably gonna just go sideways for quite some time. But in terms of the bottom, it is most likely in. Most likely in. Of course, it's in theory we could go lower, but most likely, especially if we can break this resistance right now at approximately 18K, which we are right now trying to push. It's a very important resistance because this is what we've been using as support for quite some time earlier this year, and right now, as you can see, we're trying to breach it. So this is a very important line, very important level. But most important, look at this. We do see the dollar strength index right now breaking below the 200-day moving average, testing it and getting rejected. And the most important thing is that it's not going up. It doesn't have to even come down a lot, but as soon as the dollar currency index is not going up, that's when we do see crypto getting a chance to recover. Very, very important, extremely important. And this is where we gotta see the potential. Looking at the macro, such as, for example, the dollar currency index, and also at oil, because you know that the Fed will increase interest rates as long as inflation is going wild. And oil has been one of the biggest reasons inflation has been going up so much during the past year. I mean, you see yourself how much the price has increased, especially since this COVID dump. I mean, at some point it was even negative. I don't know if you see it here or if it was only futures. It probably was only futures where it went negative. But you do see how much the price has increased, even, pre-COVID levels here at 60 or something. And it went all the way to 120 with the whole energy war with Russia and this and that. And right now it has fallen all the way to 75. And of course, if oil is going down, it's very bullish.
And they say crypto is volatile.
The Fed.
Look at that.
Pivoting. Why? Because if oil is going down, transportation is cheaper. All kind of gas is cheaper. Everything becomes cheaper if oil is going down. And this is also what we're seeing, that stocks are reacting in a positive way to the cool inflation data from the US. So inflation is cooling down, and I expect it to continue to cool down because so many people have been wrecked already by the interest rates. I mean, just looking here in Sweden, many people now have to pay double or even triple the interest rate for their mortgage than just a few months ago. I mean, it is insane. On top of that, you need to pay 2 or 3 times more for electricity than you did last year. All right. On top of that, you may also be fired now, because right now we are starting to see the consequences of this slowdown. Let's say you lose your job. I mean, normally you can still work there for a few months. And normally, let's say the Fed increases the interest rate, it will only affect the business world maybe in 8 months, maybe a year. So all of this is putting very, very high pressure on the consumer. And of course, right now, the consumer is not really doing that great. No one is really consuming stuff. And when this, and also you see stocks go down, crypto go down. I mean, when your portfolio is down, you're not really willing to spend a lot. You feel poor, and then your monthly payments go up for the mortgage, for like, I mean, everything is just wrecked all over the place. So it's not like you're gonna be consuming that much. At the same time, so that's one thing that pushes down the demand, that should also push down prices. And then of course you see oil becoming cheaper, you see dollar becoming cheaper. So all of this adds up to a very nice macro environment actually. If anything, it's an inflection. This is the inflection point.
Let's hold it right there. So what I've been saying right now is actually quite popular in terms of everybody's analysis about what's going on. He's talking about how, oh, we've got all this price doubling that's happening and everything is getting more expensive. And we, at the same time though, gas is going down. So it should make it for transport it should help to be able to reduce this inflation. But the demand, I don't know if you've been looking around you when you go out places, when you go to restaurants, when you go shopping, but I see everywhere I go anyway, places are packed. Like, I don't see any demand letting up. Maybe how much people are buying is changing a little, or maybe the things that they're buying is changing. But there is still a lot of buying happening. And there's a contrarian view out there that all these signals that everybody talks about with the pressure that's happening to the consumer are actually indications that the reverse is going to happen because everybody expects it, right? Because everybody expects it, it's not going to be the thing that happens. Instead, it's going to be another thing. It's going to go the other way. And I think that there's a contrarian view to what Ivan's talking about, that we may not even see a recession as everybody's talking about. We may see this huge relief sort of like this huge relief upturn in the market over the course of the next quarter. Because everybody is saying, oh, 2023 is going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be recession. It's going to be horrible. Everyone's going to lose their jobs. Blah, blah, blah. Everything that Ivan just said. So it's very popular from a TA perspective, which is what he's talking about. He loves to look at the charts and say, here's what is happening in the markets, and therefore X, Y, Z. But typically speaking, when there's different instances where you want to follow the herd, right? In short term, following the herd can be a good thing. In the long term, though, following the herd can get you killed. So with long-term thinking, with a long-term outlook of things, you want to pay attention to a more contrarian view and not follow the herd in those instances. But on the shorter term cycles, the herd tends to be right. Right? That's where the trend is your friend, as the saying goes, right? When it comes to TA, the trend is your friend. So in short term, you follow the herd. In the long term outlook of things, you look at these types of TA kind of signals, and you probably want to go the opposite direction of what everybody's saying things are going to go towards. So just a little of my 2 cents on this. So I don't quite agree with Ivan on that one. I understand what Ivan is saying, though, of course, because it's the popular thing. It's the well-known TA analysis of where the market's at and all that kind of stuff. But in the long term, it's going to get you wrecked. Short term, though, he may be right in terms of what he's looking at. Long term, you want to go the opposite direction where the herd's going. So my 2 cents. Anyways, let's see what the rest of what Ivan has to say.
Remember the past months. They just think about how things have been during the past month, and they think it's going to continue. But we got to look at the science of change, the winds of change. And those are very important signals that really signal the bottom for me, or at least that we're extremely close. And let me know what you guys think. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe we're all schizophrenic, calling the bottom here, being bullish. We should all be bearish because we're going to zero. Who knows? Now, guys, I want to end this video speaking about very big news that actually opens up crypto on mobile. The fact that the EU regulations are now forcing Apple to allow users to install apps from outside the App Store.
This is awesome.
Normally, I don't like what EU is doing normally. I mean, they're always messing around with liberties in a way where, these people, it's not like we voted for them because we're a small country. Sweden is a small country. We don't vote. It's mainly Germans sitting there deciding stuff for us in the EU, and like French. and we get to live with their decisions. So normally I don't really like that, and sometimes these rules they don't make any sense. But sometimes it leads to something which actually helps us and may help our industry. And now they really want to remove this like monopolistic capture of the
This
mobile
is
market
awesome.
by
This is really
Apple.
awesome.
And basically, right now, it seems that Apple is forced to allow people to install apps outside of their app store.
This
And
is
of course,
great.
if that's the case, you can have crypto, you can have, I mean,
What's
any
this?
use case you can
Yeah,
have
the wall
as an
garden.
app, which is insane, because it's been the biggest problem with Apple in the past, that you never know what you're allowed to have on Apple, on the App Store. You may get banned, you may get removed, and there's no way for people to install your app outside of App Store. And if this goes through, I mean, if this really is what it seems like, that EU regulation is forcing Apple to open up, this really helps the consumer, because this really gives you choice. This really gives you more opportunity, more chance to control what you bought, the hardware you bought. And of course, for us as a crypto industry, it's fantastic, because there's a big fear among developers. And we know this at Moralis because we are a development platform and we are serving many developers. And I mean, I know for a fact that many devs, they're hesitant to build for mobile because, I mean, you don't know if your app is going to survive. You don't know. Hey, focus.
There we go.
You don't know if you
I'm gonna get back
spend a lot of time building an app and then it's banned because it's crypto and you have to share the transaction fee with Apple, which is impossible or something. So, or you have to like pay for each transaction with Apple Pay. Like it doesn't make sense. So I think it's going to give a lot of confidence to devs, and that's the most important thing. Devs will build the next bull market. Devs are here to change the world, guys.
That was awesome. That last piece of news about what's happening in the EU with Apple is fantastic. It's absolutely awesome. Again, we have a counterparty with Apple, the company, that has this walled off garden situation. And the only thing, the reasoning that they have with that initially was, well, we want to make sure that our apps are secure and that everything that comes into the store is going to be a nice and secure type of a environment, so that you're not going to get malicious apps that are going to go on your phone and all this kind of stuff. Sounds good in the beginning, but what happened in practice was, hey, pay up your 30% or you're out of here, right? That's what that became all about. And so obviously with that kind of a monopolistic kind of being shaken down as an app developer in the Apple Store, to be able to be there is certainly not in the interest of the consumer. And it looks like the EU somehow, some way saw this and actually is giving them orders to say, nope, you got to open this up and allow others to be able to have access to be able to install other apps, which is fantastic news for us, because we're actually working on something where this was a challenge. Like, we were looking at the situation with different kinds of phones, and we're just like, what about the Apple Store? Like, what about Apple? What are we going to do for iOS phones? Because the ability to be able to connect with them is just so gated off that we would just, like, technologically speaking, it just becomes this walled off garden like they talked about. This happened in the EU. I hope it's going to happen all over the world. I'm pretty sure if the EU is doing this, it's going to adopt it everywhere else pretty quickly, hopefully sooner than later. But that's great news. And I don't know, tech's correct. It's a very scary experience when you're an app developer and needing to deal with the Apple Store, because you never know when you're going to get shut down. Look what happened to Coinbase. Coinbase, like, just recently, like that's what all this is like. What the story talks about and associated with is that Coinbase actually was starting to get shaken down by Apple for a 30% cut of all its gas fees, right? Like, it's just crazy. Like, so NFTs, basically, any kind of NFTs that were going to be transacted using Coinbase's wallet, Apple Store is saying, yeah, you're going to have to give us the gas fees on that now. It's like, what? Like, crazy, just crazy. Anyways, so that's some fantastic news. So overall, I agreed with some of what Ivan Tech talked about. He gave some fantastic news about what's happening in the EU with the Apple Store. That's great. But as far as what's happening in Congress, from a contrarian kind of perspective, because some people are freaking out going, oh, this means they're going to ban all crypto, and now it's, the sky is falling. When you have that kind of thing happening, people in crypto have gotten pretty used to it, to the sense that they take the contrarian view and go, this is a signal that the bottom is in. We got to start turning bullish now, because that is because now we got everybody attacking us. That means that we're going to go the other way now. So I think that's what's going on. So Ivan is taking the contrarian view on that. Of, like, we should be turning bullish now, because it's definitely like the bottom signal. Whereas like the rest of his macro analysis kind of goes in the other way, in terms of it's going to be hell in 2023. But contrarian view would be, it may not. So we have to see what happens. So anyways, do you agree with that? Do you agree with Ivan? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments. Smash that like, hit the share button, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.